For this activity, the students were completing a newspaper article in eClass. So they would log into eClass, and the first thing they would need to do is to complete a formative assessment through the classroom assessment tool. So all they would see, because I've set release conditions that they must make 100 on the one question quiz as a formative assessment before they can go on. So all they're going to see is this one question, and this is based on what we've learned in prior lessons. So they're going to have to answer this question correctly. And so this is part of the newspaper activity, the first part. So if they're able to write the equation for the scenario by looking at the graph and reading the situation, if they figure out correctly that the equation should be y equals negative 5x plus 40, once they get 100 on that, then the activity will be released to them. So they will then see the newspaper project, and it looks like this. So it's a 4-page newspaper. So the students will download this to their computer. We're going to be in the computer lab for 2 days working on the project. So the students will have to fill in every part where there's a pink fill in the blank or the equation. So on the first page, they're going to start out by just figuring out initial value and the slope and being able to write the equation, and then being able to apply that equation to a specific amount. On the second page, they're going to have to go a little more in depth and write a story to fit the graphs as well as the equations. And that continues on page 3. And then the last page, they're going to have to do everything. They need to write a situation, they need to make the graph, they need to show the equation. So once they finish this over the 2 days, then they will submit it to the Dropbox. And here are some of the finished products that some of the students have submitted. They don't always show up so well in eClass, so I have to download it. So this student is an ELL student, and so let's see. So some of his was very interesting. He was able to find the correct equation. That was the one question quiz at the beginning. So here we have to fill in, based on the graph, what the initial value is, the slope, and then use that to figure out what they would make in 3 years. And then on page 2, he had to write his own scenario. So this one is talking about a race. So the people started at 30 yards, so that's their initial value, which is the y-intercept, and then went up 2 yards per second. Okay, and then this story over here is talking about renting a car. They paid $100, which is the y-intercept, and they paid $50 per mile. So the total amount was $550 for 20 miles. Okay, we can look at another one. All right, let me open this one. Okay, so this student, looks like this student was struggling a little bit, so she was not able to write the equation, or she did not see that she needed to write the equation. She was able to write scenarios for the graphs, and she did write some equations here, so maybe she just missed it on the first page. So basically the formative assessment was the one question quiz, which then allowed them to go on to the activity, which was a 2-day activity to complete this newspaper, a 4-page newspaper, using the information that we have learned in class.